Welcome, students of Hebrew, and we just like to welcome you again, and we thank you for joining us. And today's lesson begins a new chapter. We are in Yehuchanan, John chapter 18, verses 1 to 5. And we do hope these lessons truly bless you and help you to study and keep going with your Hebrew. So let us now begin. And as every other week, we put up the Nakud, the vowel markings, and how to use them, approximate them, and also the useful resources, which, as we can see, is a website that has transliteration. It has the ancient Hebrew, the modern Hebrew. It even has the Greek and their transliteration and translation. So it's very useful. And then we also like to look at www, Do It in Hebrew Dictionary, which is modern Hebrew, but it will give us much of the meanings, the root meanings of words. A very great blessing. So let us begin. So as we begin, we see that, of course, verse 1 is represented with an aleph, the first letter of the alphabet. And as usual, we like to go through the letters because it just helps to reinforce everything we know about the Hebrew alphabet. Vav, Yod, Hey, Yod, Kaf, Kaf, Lamed, Vav, Tav, Yod, Hey, Vav, Shin, Ayin, Lamed, Dalet, Bet, Resh, Aleph, Tav, Hey, Dalet, Vet, Resh, Yod, Mem Safit, Hey, Aleph, Lamed, and Hey. So, let us now begin. And as we begin, we like to see that the color codes are there to help you read it. So we begin by saying Vehi, which means, and it was, often translated, and it came to pass. And then we have ke kalot, like, or often translated when, and then kalot is finished. Yahushua, or Yahusha, le daber, it means to speak, because the vowels are different, so we know it means to speak. Et grammar marker, ha-davarim, meaning the words, ha-ele, these. And it came to pass when Yeshua finished speaking these words. And I've given you kala. As a kol verb, it means to be finished, to be completed, to have run out. But also because you don't want to get confused, we see we've got kala. Slight different vowel marking, but same word, kala, but it's a feminine noun, and it can mean bride, daughter-in-law, term of endearment for a woman. So I'm just trying to show you that, the same basic word can also give you a different meaning if it's a noun or a verb. Okay, let us read that verse without any aid. Vehi ke kalot Yahushua le daber et ha devarim ha'ele. And the translation, and it was like when finished Yahusha to speak, grammar mark of the words, these. And then we go to part B, and we see we have a Vav, a Yod, a Zadeh, an Aleph, Hey, Chet, Vav, Zadeh, Hey, Ayin, Mem Safit, Tav, Lamed, Mem, Yod, Dalet, Yod, Vav, Aleph, Lamed, Ayin, Vet, Resh, Lamed, Nun, Chet, Lamed, Kuf, Dalet, Resh, Vav, and Nun Sofit. And now we come back to the beginning. And we go, Va Yitzeh, which means, and he departed. He went forth. He went out. Because we know that Yatsa means to go out, to exit. So he departed. Ha Chutza. And it means the outside. So he went out to the outside, if we can look at it that way. Im, which is with, Tal Mi Dave, meaning his disciples. L2, Ever, and it means crossover, to cross over. L Nachal, Nachal, and it means to the brook, to cross over to the brook. And the brook is called Kidron, the Kidron brook, in other words. Speaking these words, he went outside with his disciples to the other side of the Kidron stream. Right, and as before, I've got yatsa there, kol verb, to go outside, to exit, depart, to leave. And also I've included chutz, which is a masculine noun meaning outside, out, as in ball games. Of course, it's from the modern Hebrew too, how it's used. So now we will remove all that, and now let's read it. Va yetzeh hachutza im talmidav el ever lenachal Kidron. Right. And the translation, and he departed outside with his disciples to cross over to the brook, the Kidron. And now we come to part C, which is a Vav, Shin, Mem Sofit. Hey Yod, Hey, Gimel, Nun Sofit, Vav, Yod, Vayet, Aleph, Vayet, Vav. Hey, Vav, Aleph. Vav, Tav, Lamed, Mem, Yod, Dalet, Yod, and Vav. So we begin. And let's read it now. Vasham, and there, because Sham means there. Haya, meaning was. Gan, a garden. Vayavo, and he came. Vo, in it, because the Vav acts as a pronoun. Because we're talking about a garden, it means it. Who, he, the Talmidav, and his disciples. So from the previous verse, the brook Kidron, where there was a garden, and he entered with his disciples. So now let's read that without any aid. V'sham, haya, gan, vayavo, vo, hu, v'talmidav. And the translation, and there was a garden, and he came in it, he and his disciples. And now we're turning to 2. Verse 2, represented with a Vayet, the second letter of the Aleph Bet, and then we go through the letters. Vav, Gimel, Mem, Sofit. Yod, Hey, Vav, Dalet, Hey, Mem, Vav, Samek, Resh, Vav, Yod, Dalet, Ayin, Aleph, Tav, Hey, Mem, Kuf, Vav, Mem, Sofit, Kaf, Yod, Fei, Ayin, Mem, Yod, Mem, Sofit. Now let's read it. V'gam, and also Yahuda, Yehuda, translated as Judas. Mosro. Mosro means his informer. If we look there, down here, Moser is a masculine noun for informer or betrayer. Yada, he knew. Now it comes from to know, right? He knew et grammar marker ha-makom, meaning the place. Ki, for, fa'amim. It means for times. So if we look down here, pa'am, that's the singular. Feminine noun, it means time, occasion, or it can mean once. But of course we see it's got the plural ending on it. So it's a masculine plural. So it's saying times. Right, Judas, his betrayer, also knew of the place since many times. And now let's read it. V'gam Yehuda Mosro Yada et ha-makom ki fe'amim. And the translation. And also Yehuda, his informer, he knew, grammar mark of the place, for times. And now we've got part B, and it is Resh, Bet, Vav, Tav, Nun, Vav, Ayin, Dalet, Shin, Mem, Hey, Yod, Hey, Vav, Shin, Ayin, Mem, Savit, Tav, Lamed, Mem, Yod, Dalet, Yod, Vav. And now let's read it. Rabot. And it comes from Rav, which means great or many. So it is many. So many times for the times. Many times is what we translated before, right? No ad had met. If we look down here, no ad here, it's a verb to meet, to get together, to be intended for. So many times had met. Shama, meaning there or to there. Yahushua or Yahusha, im with Talmidayev, his disciples. For many times Yeshua met there with his disciples. So now let's read that. And it is Rabot, Noad, Shama, Yahushua, im Talmidayev. And the translation, many or times many or many times had met there Yahusha with his disciples. Right, and we have 3, which is Gimel now, the third letter of the alphabet. And we have a Vav, a Yod, a Kuf, Chet, Yod, Hey, Vav, Dalet, Hey, Aleph, Tav, Hey, Gimel, Dalet, Vav, Dalet, Vav, Mem, Shin, Resh, Tav, Yod, Mem, Safit, Mem, Aleph, Tav, Resh, Aleph, Shin, Yod, Hey, Kaf, Hey, Nun, Yod, Mem, Safit. And now let's read it. Va-yi-kach. It means, and he took, past tense, because we got the prefix at the beginning. So, and he took Yehuda, which is translated as Judas, et grammar marker ha-gadud, ha-gadud, the regiment. If we look down here, gadud is a masculine noun meaning battalion, regiment, squadron. And it is shartim, and the servants, because we know masharet is a noun meaning servants, officers, attendant, valet. And then we have me'et, and the me is like from and then grammar marker, right? Rashi, meaning the heads of Ha-Kohanim, the priests. And the translation is, Judas then took a brigade and officers from the chief priests. Now we can read that. Vayikach Yehuda et Hagadud Shartim Me'et Rashi Ha-Kohanim. And the translation. And he took, that is Judas, grammar mark of the regiment, or a regiment, and the servants, from grammar mark of the heads of the priests. And then I've also got here sharet, meaning it's a verb now, right? Because it doesn't have the mem in front of it. Sharet is a piel verb to serve, to assist, to provide a service. And then we come to part B, and we have a vav, a hey, and this is a pei, resh, vav, shin, yod, mem safid, vav, yod, veit, aleph, shin, mem, hey, beit, nun, resh, vav, tav, vav, veit, lamed, pei, yod, dalet, yod, mem safid, vav, veit, kaf, lamed, yod, nun, shin, and kuf. So now let's read that. And it is the ha-perushim, and the Pharisees. And then we have vayavo, and he came. Because there's no pronoun there, then we can assume it's a he. And he came, shama. So it's talking about, if you go back, the officers were of the chief priests and the Pharisees. So now it's a comma, so it can be confusing because there's like a comma. And he came, shama there, benerot, with oil lamps. And it comes from ner, down here, which is a masculine noun for oil lamp, candela, or candle. But more accurately, oil lamp. Because in those days they used oil lamps, with oil lamps. And we got uv la pidim. Uv la pidim. And with torches. Uvikle. Uvikle na shek. So, and with instruments. Kale meaning instruments. And na shek meaning weaponry, with instruments of weaponry. So we read from the chief priests and the Pharisees. He came there with lanterns and torches and weapons. Now we're talking about he is Judas, right? And as we can see down here, I've got lapid is a masculine noun meaning torch. And kali is a masculine noun meaning tool, implement, utensil. All right, so let us read that without any interference with our explanations. So we have the ha-perushim vayavo shama benerot uv la pidim uvikle na shek. Right, and the translation, which is, and the Pharisees. And he came there with oil lamps and with torches and with instruments of weaponry. So Judas brought all those with him, right? And Now we turn to 4, which is represented with the dalet, the 4th letter of the alphabet. And then we go through the letters. Vav, Yod, He, Vav, Shin, Ayin. Yod, Dalet, Ayin. Aleph, Tav. Kaf, Lamed. Aleph, Shin, Resh. Yod, Vayet, Aleph. Ayin, Lamed, Yod, Vav. Vav, Yod, Zadeh, Aleph. And then we read. The Yahushua and Yahushua, or Yahusha, Yada, he knew, Et Gramamaka, Kol, all Asher that, Yavo was coming, or shall come, Alive upon him, Vayetse, and he went forth, he went out, he went forth. So Yeshua, knowing all the things that were coming upon him, went forth. Now I have here kol as a preposition. It means all, every, entire, whole. And if we look at it here it is kol, right? And why is a kol not kol? Well, because the Kamatz grammar rule makes it a short O sound in a closed, unaccented syllable, usually the first. It's just a rare case where when it's the first, the kamatz can also be used as an O sound, kol. And of course we have yatsa at the bottom as a kol verb, to emanate, to go forth, to emerge, or to leave. All of those are the same. So we will now read it. And we begin. V'Yahushua yada et kol asher yavo alayv vayetzei. And the translation, and Yahusha, he knew, grammar marker, all that was coming upon him, and he went forth. So he willingly went forth. And we got 4b now, which is a vav, a yod, and a aleph, a mem, a resh, and a aleph, a lamed, yod, hey, mem safit, aleph, tav, mem, yod, tav, vayet, kuf, shin, and vav. And let's read it. Vayomer. Vayomer. And he said, Alehem means unto them. Hem is them. Et grammar marker, me, meaning who or whom. Tevakeshu. Tevakeshu. Do you seek? Right? Because the tav is like second person, could be shall you, will you. And that tells us that the u is you as well. Do you seek? And we know that bikesh, right, it's in the form of vakesh there, but it's often as bikesh. It's a piel verb to ask, to seek, to want. So to seek is how we will translate that. And the English is, he went forth and said to them, whom do you seek? And now we will read it. Vayomer Alehem et mi tevakeshu. And the translation, and he said unto them, grammar marker, whom do you seek? And then we have 5, represented with a hey, value of 5. And the letters, Vav Yod, Ayin Nun Vav, Vav Yod, Mem Resh Vav, Aleph Tav Yod Hey Vav Shin, Ayin Hey Nun Zadeh Resh Yod Vav Yod Aleph Mem Resh Aleph, Lamed, Yod, Hey, and Mem Safit. And now let's read that. Vaya'anu, and they answered. And of course, from that, the root word is ana. So the Hey is dropped off. Right? If we see there, it's just got ayin and nun. Right? So ana is the root there with the Hey missing. It's a kol verb to answer, to reply, or to respond. So, and they answered, Vayomru, and they said, Et, grammar marker, Yahushua, or Yahusha, Ha-Natsri, the Nazarene. If we look down here, Natzer is a masculine noun meaning stem, offshoot, offspring. Or Natsar is a kol verb to guard, to save. So we're just looking at the word they use for Nazarene, just so that we get some idea of the root of that word as an offspring. All right, and then we have Va-yomer, and he said, Alehem, unto them. They answered and said, Yeshua the Nazarene. Yeshua said unto them. And now let's read that. Vaya'anu, vayomru, et Yahushua ha-Natsri, vayomer alehem. And the translation. And they answered, and they said, grammar marker, Yahusha, the Nazarene. And he said unto them. So we now come to part B of that, of 5. And we have a Yod, a Hey, a Vav, a Shin, an Ayin, an Aleph, a Nun, a Yod, a Hey, Vav, Da, Aleph, Vav, Gimel, Mem, Savid, Yod, Hey, Vav, Dalet, Hey, Mem, Vav, Samek, Resh, Vav, Ayin, Mem, Dalet, Aleph, Zade, Lamed, and Mem, Safit. And we now can read it. And it is Yahushua, Yahusha, Ani, which can be translated as I am. And who, he. Vagam, and also Yehuda, and also Yehuda. Mosro, his betrayer, his informer, right? Amad, stood, because we know amad means to stand, right? Etzlam, near him. So just to get an understanding of etzel, which is the root, so near them, sorry. With the mem safit, it's them. And etzel is a prep, and it means with, beside, next to, near. So you could use any of them. So I put near them. So Yeshua said to them, I am he. Judas, his betrayer, also stood by them in close proximity. And so now it is time for us to read it. Yahushua, Ani, Hu, Vagam, Yehuda, Mosro, Amad, Etzlam. And the translation, Yahusha, I am, he. And also Yehuda, his betrayer, stood near them. And that brings us to the end of those verses, but now we can do our revision. And if we begin by saying Aleph is the first letter of the alphabet, so we know we're in 1. And then we read it. Ve, he, and it was. Ke, kalot, like finished. Yahushua, le daber, to speak. Et gramamaka, ha-devarim, the words. Ha-ele, these. And the translation. And it was, like when finished Yahushua, to speak the words, these. Va-yet-say, and he went out. Ha-chutza, to the outside. You could say outside. He went outside. Went forth outside. Im with Talmidayev, his disciples. El to ever, crossover. Le Nachal, which is the brook. To the brook. Kidron. Kidron brook. Vasham, and there, Haya was gan a garden, Vayavo, and he came in, vo, in it, who, he, Vatalmidayev, and his disciples. And we translate that. And he departed outside with his disciples to cross over to the brook, the Kidron, or of the brook, the Kidron. And there was a garden, and he came in it, he and his disciples. So we will go through the whole lot before we actually see the translation. Vagam, and also Yehuda, Judas, Mosro, his informer or betrayer, Yada knew, et grammar marker, ha makom, the place, ki that, fe'amim, many, or for many, rabot, for times, rabot is many, no ad, which is, so we just look at the translation, all right? And also Yehudi, his informer, he knew, grammar mark of the place, for times, and then we have many. No ad. So let me go back just so that we can look at it. So rabot means many, no ad, had met. Shema there, Yahushua, im with Talmidayev, his disciples. Right, so for times many, or many times. We can easily get that confused because it follows the wrong order of words that we're used to. No ad, meaning had met, Shema there, Yeshua with his disciples. And then we have Gimel, verse 3, and we have Vayikach, and he took, Yehuda, which is Judas, et ha-gadud, which is the regiment, shartim, and the servants, me'et, from Rashi, the heads, ha-kohanim, the priests. And he took Yehuda, grammar mark of the regiment, and the servants, from grammar marker, the heads of the priests. Right, and then we read, Vaha Perushim, which is the Pharisees, and the Pharisees. And now we have comma, and then it is Vayavo, and he came, Shema there, Benerot, with, or because the bet can be with oil lamps, uvla pidim, and with torches, uvik lay, and instruments, we could say, and with instruments, because a bet can be like with, shek, of weaponry. Right, so we'll see how it goes. And the Pharisees, comma, and he came there, that's Judas, with oil lamps and with torches and with the instruments of weaponry. So he came, but with all these others, right? And then we have Dalet, fourth letter of the alphabet, the Yahushua and Yahushua. Yada knew et grammar marker, kol all assured that Yavo was to come, Alev upon him, Vayetse, and he went forth. And Yahushua, he knew, grammar marker, all that was coming upon him, and he went forth. Vayomer, and he said, Elehem, unto them, et, grammar marker, me, who, or whom, tevakeshu, which is like you do seek. And he said unto them, grammar marker, whom do you seek? And then we have hey, a fifth letter of the alphabet. So we're in verse 5. Vaya'anu, and they answered. Vayomru, and they said, et grammar marker, Yahushua ha-Nazri, the Nazarene. Vayomer, and he said, Alehem, unto them. And they answered, and they said, grammar marker, Yahushua the Nazarene, and he said unto them, Yahushua, Ani, I am he, who is he? Vagam, and also Yehuda, Judas, Mosro, his betrayer or informer, Amad, stood, et lam, near them or beside them. Yahushua, I am he, and also Yehuda, his betrayer, stood near them. All right, and finally we come to the valve markings, and we'll just pick the top row because it's so important we remember what they're called and how to use them. So the first one is cholam, so it gives us the O sound, cholam. And then we have shava. Now shava can be silent, especially when it's the end of the syllable, or it can be vocal, so it becomes like shava. And then we have segol, which is a short E sound, zere, which is a long E sound, patak, which is a short A sound, and then we have kamat. As we can hear, it's a long A sound. So if we remember those sort of things, it'll help us in our pronunciation of the letters. And of course, we have our useful resources again, and we have also the letters to try to help us remember the values. So we'll go backwards. Lamed is 30, Kaf is 20, Yod is 10, Tet is 9, Chet is 8, and Zion is 7. And we will leave it there. And we do hope you are blessed by going through these lessons, because they help us all as we keep practicing, and we do a bit every week, we will improve. And I just hope you are blessed through these. So may you have a great Shabbat to come, and goodbye.